Yo, what's up everybody? It's Fright Delight Happy Valentine's Day. I hope you all are spending the day with a loved one, and if you're not, I'll be a date for the day. Also, we're going to continue the Halloween Curse of Michael Myers in the next video, but for now, let's talk about Valentine, made in 2001. This was when movies like Scary Movie 2, Jeepers Creepers, and Training Day were made. If you haven't seen Training Day and refuse to watch it for some reason, I got some words for you.
You disloyal, fool-ass, bitch-made punk.
If you ask me, Valentine is about a group of friends getting stalked by a killer that used to get bullied back in the day by the same group we follow. From what I understand, the general reception of the film is that it's a straightforward horror movie with a boring set of characters that get on your nerves more than entertain you. I also seen that you shouldn't expect much from a slasher movie, so a lot of the mistakes are forgiven, which is bullshit to a certain extent. On the other hand, some people say this movie is underrated. They love the 90s feel this movie brings with the bare bones plot, and another positive I've seen is in the killer design with the nosebleed quirk, saying it was a creative and distinct way of separating the killer from the rest. Now, Valentine is a movie I haven't seen in years, but from what I remember, I've never been fond of this movie. But for whatever reason, I've always been open to give more chances than I should. So will the rewatch of the movie finally put a nail in the coffin, or will the nostalgia of the early 2000s sink into my heart, causing me to rank this movie a bit higher and rewatch it again? Well, you'll hear my thoughts after I recap the movie, give my thoughts and opinions in between, and end it off with a tier list. Now let's stop playing to find a Valentine. The movie starts off at a school dance with a young geek named Jeremy Melton asking a variety of girls to dance with him, and each one of them deny him in the worst way.
Ew.
The worst she can say is no my ass. There's always something worse that can happen, like what this young devil does. She accepts Jeremy's hand and ends up behind the bleachers making out with him, and from what's shown, it's very consensual. That is until they both get caught by the school bullies.
Jeremy attacked me. He attacked me.
You can even see the confusion in young Jeremy's face right before he has his own Carrie moment without the telekinesis. He has a nosebleed, then gets stripped naked and beat up in front of the entire class. Now, if that isn't the motive, I don't know what is. We fast forward 13 years later where we meet our first victim, character, Shelly. After she has an unsuccessful date with Captain Chin, she heads back to work to finish an autopsy. Right before she starts, a noise in the back grabs her attention. She checks it out, but it ends up being a character that we don't see again. So after that convo, she finds someone left her a Valentine's Day card that's creative but concerning at the same time. A little freaked out, she goes back to the table to finish work to get her mind off things. But that motherfucker starts to breathe. Oh wait, never mind, it's not a dead body. It's the killer called the Cherub, according to Google. I'm just gonna call him Cupid. Now that I think about it, that was probably one of the weakest plans I've ever seen to catch somebody slipping. Imagine if she didn't even see him breathe. You know what? I feel like I'm thinking too much. Cupid starts to chase Shelly down the hallway in a Michael Myers-esque way until she gets to the room full of body bags and tries to hide. Not long after, Cupid enters and says, "My name is Cupid, not stupid," before finding Shelly easily and ending her life. Well, he didn't say that. He just had a little nosebleed after. Sometime later, we're introduced to a couple of the girls that just want to have fun like Cindy Lay Pier. Their names are Paige and Kate. The two speed date at this restaurant and don't have any luck. They walk out when Kate gets a call from their other friend Dorothy letting them know the bad news about their homegirl Shelly. A while later, everyone catches up at the funeral, starting with Kate and her ex-man Adam. She's not too happy seeing a bottle of tequila in his car, especially because drinking was one of the main reasons they broke up in the first place. He clears the air saying he's just holding it for a friend before giving his condolences and pulling off. Kate walks back to the rest of the characters, Dorothy and Lily. While they're chatting, Detective Vaughn asks him a few questions, but nobody can help. He lets the group know that if they can think of anything, call him, but only gives Paige his number. Interesting. Back at the crib, Kate hops out the shower after hearing a noise. Of course there's no one there, but when she goes back, her water conveniently stops working. Kate waits a bit, then dips her head into the toilet. She for sure has more strength than me, cause that would have never crossed my mind. Just as she's about to call maintenance, she notices that her front door is open and decides to walk all the way down the public hall with nothing but a towel on. To do what? I don't know. She does come across a mask and a dude that has worse pickup lines than he does sideburns.
You could be my mate, Kate.
You're scary, Gary.
She goes back inside while we catch up with Paige and Lily. Somebody knocks on the door and delivers a card with a box of chocolate signed with the initials JM. Lily immediately starts busting down on the chocolate and quickly realizes that they're each filled with maggots. After that awful experience, the two brainstorm who could have the initials JM and make a not so wild guess that it could be Jeremy Milton. They don't pay too much attention to that though and go to an art show where Lily introduces her man Max, and not long after, Deborah introduces her man's too. His name is Campbell. Once they all get acquainted, the crew split up for a while looking at the various pieces of art. Max and Lily get busy making new art when somebody starts to watch and gets turned on. And it's not me this time, it's this lady here. Lily quickly notices and stops, but that doesn't stop Max. In fact, he invited her. This leads to probably my favorite scene in the entire film.
You turned out to be a cheap, hypocritical sleazeball.
Yeah, but you knew that.
Hey, he does have a point. As Lily tries to find her way out of the art museum, she comes across Cupid but gets shot by an arrow without the love. She gets shot a few more times before falling to her death. Later that night, Kate is having a date with Adam, telling him about the wild day she's had and about how she's missing underwear too. A bit into the conversation, Adam gets serious about telling her how he feels about getting back together, but she shuts him down, saying he gets out of control when he drinks and she can't be around that. And I agree with her. Nobody wants to be around an angry drunk. The next day, the three friends are getting interrogated by Detective Vaughn, asking for more info. He asks about Lily, but they say she's out of town. He also asked if they know who a Jeremy Milton is, and after more questioning, Miss Debbie Snacks here tells the officer that Jeremy attacked her when they were younger, still keeping up with that evil ass story. After he leaves, the friends call cap on her story, and this is when Dorothy tells the truth about what really happened that night during the dance. A day or so later, the group meets back up with Detective Vaughn, who's no help, saying the only bit of info that they have after getting his name lied on is he went to reform school, juvenile hall, then ended off at a mental hospital.
Must have done some number on him at the dance, huh?
She did. Now Jeremy's about to do a number on her ass. After a bit of talking and sexual harassment from Detective Vaughn, the crew dips out, and as they leave, we see what Cupid's up to. Looks like he finds out who's been swiping Kate's underwear. It's been Scary Gary this entire time. Cupid brutally beats Gary into oblivion using a hot iron right before Kate pulls up to the crib. She's stopped by Adam, who gives her a Valentine's lollipop. She's so happy she writes "I owe you" neck on a slip of paper right before heading upstairs. Well, it didn't say the neck part, but that would be nice too. Anyways, as Kate gets back inside the crib, Paige is already there and doesn't explain how. Well, that's not important right now, but what is the growing relationship between Dorothy and Campbell. She even gets him a brand new watch for Valentine's Day. Campbell returns the favor by gifting her a gold necklace. He leaves the pool, but Dorothy asks him to fix the water heater before he does. He walks down to the basement to start the water heater. When he's done, the dude immediately gets hit in the back with an axe. Ooh. Later that night at the Valentine's party that wasn't mentioned before, Max, Kate, and Dorothy link up while Paige is doing a mating call on the dance floor. It doesn't take long for this dude that looks like he's on powder to approach her. They dance for maybe 15 seconds before he says he has a surprise for her. They kiss and head upstairs. It doesn't take long for Paige to get shown a surprise and get turned off by how small it is, but he ain't trying to hear all that.
What are you waiting for, honey? Wax it.
Paige takes wax into another level when she agrees, ties him up, then pours wax on his family jewels before dipping out, just in time to see Dorothy get confronted by Campbell's hating ass ex Ruthie. She claims that Campbell stole the necklace he gave to Dorothy, then tries to convince her that he's only with her for the money. And if that's the case, why are you trying so hard to come back? Dorothy's homegirls drag her out of there, but a little later she sneaks into Campbell's room stealing jewelry while simultaneously Max asks Kate where Lily is. He eye-fucks the shit out of her, then says she never showed up to LA, making Kate a bit worried. She talks to Dorothy, but they can't put together what's happened to Lily. Well, I can tell you it's the same thing that's about to happen to Ruthie. At first, she gets the upper hand on Cupid before dipping off, and I'm not sure why people continue to hide instead of just actually trying to escape. I guess it's just one of those horror tropes I'll never understand. Ruthie isn't the best in hide and seek and gets caught when trying to sneak down the hallway. She gets brutalized by Cupid. Damn, that's gotta be the best kill in the movie. Cupid ain't playing any games at this point. Not a lot of time goes by before he finds the next victim, Paige, just chilling in the hot tub. While he creeps in the background, we follow Kate and Dorothy. They get a call from Detective Vaughn saying he's on the way, and I'm gonna let y'all know right now, he's probably using nigga time because he doesn't show up for the rest of the movie. Kate starts to panic a bit, rushing up to Adam, but catches him going back on his sobriety. Heartbroken, she walks away, and while she drowns in sorrow, Paige is busy getting drowned in the hot tub by Cupid. He gets a power drill and pokes her a few times before he gets tired of that shit and throws the entire tool in with Paige, killing her and the power. The party goers leave and Kate goes outside to call Adam. He's not picking up, but she does hear a phone ringing in the distance. She walks towards the sound and finds Adam's phone and the IOU gift she gave him earlier. Kate picks it up and gets spooked by a severed head popping up like an apple in a carnival game. She dips out of there, rushing back inside, coming across Adam acting very weird. Very suspicious. He gets her to dance with him, then tries to put the moves on her and gets kicked in his no-no. She runs away, getting down to the hot tub area, finding the aftermath of what Cupid did to her friend Paige. Kate circles back around, finding a room with a case of weapons inside. She breaks in and grabs the gun in the worst way possible. If it wasn't a movie, she might have ended herself. Fortunately, she doesn't and walks back upstairs to look for the killer. She gets hit with a peekaboo and falls down the stairs with Cupid next to her. She quickly gets up, but so does Cupid, and seconds later, bullets fly and Cupid is hit by Adam and pulls off the mask once and for all, revealing it to be Dorothy. Exactly, but don't be fooled. The last two Valentine's lovers hold each other, waiting for the cops to come while blood rushes down Adam's nose, ending the movie. Alright homies, that was the end of Valentine, made in 2001. A film that in my opinion gets carried more by the Valentine theme rather than the plot or actors on screen. Starting with some of the positives first, and I tried hard to find some. Number one, I like how the kills seemingly start to get more brutal as the movie continues. Starting with the throat slit, then later in the film there's an axe to the back, a neck stab with a shard of glass, then ends off with an electrocution. Also, the progressive brutality of the kills were much appreciated. Even though they weren't the best, the kills did get better as time went on. My next positive for the film is the over-the-top humor that landed more for me now than it did when I was younger. Now, I'm not saying this is a bust your gut type of movie, because it's far from that. But some of the jokes in the film worked for me, especially because I have a thing for corny jokes. And my third and final positive is the killer. While he does seem more like the other iterations of slashers we've seen, like Michael Myers and Ghostface with the walk and the choice of a knife as a weapon, I do like the killer's motivation that almost gets you on the killer's side, and the nosebleed quirk that separates him from the rest, kind of like what the general reception said. I also feel like the mask matches the Valentine's theme and adds a slight creep factor having a baby face on such a grown-ass body. I actually wouldn't mind seeing Cupid or the Cherub come back in another better movie. Now on to the negatives, starting with the characters. I know slashers don't have the greatest reputation for having decent characters, but this movie just seems to give me even less than that. Most of the characters are hard to get behind and support, and not to mention all if not most of the guys in this movie are dick-driven assholes. And I think this movie had a good thing going for itself when the characters started out with major flaws that could be worked on and forgiven throughout the film, but instead it feels like this was made in today's time with all the, I'm not even gonna say woke, just lazy storytelling. The characters felt like they had nothing to say or do until they were about to get killed, which is kinda lame with the storyline that's presented to us. Even though I like some of the comedy, it didn't come from any of the characters we were following, and the attempts at comedy from those characters fell pancake flat to me. Side note, I honestly feel like the actress Marley Shelton could play a mean Sydney from Scary Movie. Give her the right role and right script, and I believe she could kill it. I don't know what it is about her, that just might be me though. Another negative I have for the film might go hand in hand with the characters, but it's the dialogue. I swear you could watch the first 5 minutes, fall asleep, wake up halfway and miss nothing important. Most of the dialogue felt like filler until they could get put on the chopping block, and most of the dialogue that went to trying to be funny sometimes worked for me, but for the majority of the time, the movie was as funny as your favorite team losing in the finals. This is some of the most bare bones dialogue I've seen in a minute. Even some of what was said in the film didn't even matter, like when Detective was apparently supposed to come through and help, but he went MIA after talking to Kate, and that was about 25 minutes before the movie ended. You didn't even hear a cop siren in the background when the movie ends. It's just left up to interpretation. Another negative for me, and this might be just me, but I hate when all of one gender are assholes for the sake of the story. In this case, damn near all the characters were assholes in their own way, but the dudes especially were the worst kinds of people.
Detective Vaughn, please remove your hand from my thigh.
All right. Where would you like me to put it?
So with all that being said, with no characters to gravitate to, no dialogue to listen to, and barely a story to get into, there's not a doubt in my mind that this film fits right in the snooze fest category. So those are my thoughts on Valentine, made in 2001. A movie I'd probably only recommend on this day specifically, and maybe to a person that likes the over-the-top humor of the early 2000s. Well, homies, if you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for making it this far. Let me know what you thought of the movie Valentine in the comments below, even if you disagree with me. And if you enjoyed this video and have any movies you want me to cover in the future, put that in the comments below too. Go ahead and give that like and subscribe button a Valentine's Day gift with a side of maggots to see more reviews like this one. I appreciate y'all coming to a Fright Delight, and I'll catch y'all later. Peace.